It's been a long day. Yeah, let's see what's popping on the social media. Oh. Well, only one site saying that. It must not be that big. Oh.
Hey.
Wait, who's there?
It's me. You know me. I'm the gods of the algorithm.
Well, why me, though?
Do you not see the signs that I've been giving you all day?
I haven't touched TwoSet content in over a year. I've abandoned the channel. Why ask me?
You used to be just another Ling wannabe, were you not? Remember the height of your fame where everybody was waiting on bated breath for your hot takes on TwoSetViolin?
Are you sure about that?
Come on, you have to do it for the people. You're just another Ling wannabe. Sit in the chair. Sit in the chair, you're gonna do it. I even set up the tripod for you. You're gonna sit that butt down in that chair and make a video about the recent TwoSetViolin news.
I'm just gonna say I'm not trying to be TwoSet's drama lord out here, okay? Well, it's been a while, hasn't it? If any of you watching haven't seen any of my content before, hello. I'm Michelle, formerly known as Just Another Ling Wannabe. I used to run a fan channel, the one you're watching right now, dedicated to TwoSetViolin for about 4 years before I quit over a year ago. And I didn't think any sort of circumstances would bring me back to YouTube. I thought I had completely abandoned that ship, buried it 6 feet under, forgotten about it, gonna move past that chapter of my life. But who would have known something like this would ever happen? If any of you watching is just as lost as I was a couple of days ago, let me break down the news very quickly. So TwoSetViolin, a classical musician duo comprised of Brett Yang and Eddie Chen, recently created a parody of BLACKPINK's Shutdown titled Sellout. And that video has garnered a lot of controversy, especially among certain fans of BLACKPINK's. This controversy has gotten so huge, TwoSet themselves posted a photo of the news print in an actual newspaper. Do you know how big news has to be these days to be on print? This is coming from a society where some websites slap together 3 tweets with 2 likes and call that an article. Basically, certain fans of BLACKPINK didn't like their video at all. There's been immense backlash all over social media. It's been picked up by large media platforms and the news. Some people have even tried to report it to YouTube, like they're trying to call TwoSet to the principal's office of YouTube for running in the hallways. And the craziness of this entire situation drove me to come back to my dead channel of over a year to simply talk about the news and how crazy it's been and what's exactly is going on and why we should care, if at all. To begin this discussion, I'd like to break down the main arguments that these BLACKPINK fans are making about TwoSet's video. First of all, many of these blinks are making the erroneous assumption that these two guys are some randos that came out of the woodwork to insult BLACKPINK unprovoked. And if you've watched any part of the video, you can see just how silly this assumption is. In what sort of universe is this guy? Look at this guy. What universe is he real? Y'all really saw 2 men in ratty wigs and dressed like they're LARPing at Versailles and thought these are living, breathing, walking human beings that exist on this earth that have genuine bones to pick with BLACKPINK. This is the guy who's speaking like what everyone thought Chris Pratt's Mario should have sounded like.
Buongiorno, it's me, Paganini.
Let me for just one moment suspend all of my prior knowledge. Let me pretend I don't know who TwoSet are, I don't know anything about classical music, and I just had no context except for this one music video that popped up on my YouTube feed. I can't imagine a single world in which I see this and think that this is a genuine person and not some sort of facetious character playing up one big, long, elaborate joke. What's next for these fans? Do they think epic rap battles of history is real too? Breaking news, this just in. Tesla CEO Elon Musk sent Twitter into a frenzy after he publicly challenged Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg to, quote, face smash my musky Dutch taint, end quote. More news at 11. That didn't really sound as far-fetched as I thought it would. Wait till these people find out who Bart Baker is. That will send them into cardiac arrest. By Bart Baker, I mean 2010s era Bart Baker. Bart Baker these days is just confusing. Now that we've gotten the stupid assumption that these 2 guys are genuine human beings that exist and have bones to pick with BLACKPINK for some reason and are writing their clout out of the way, let's address the big enchilada, the main meat of why these blinks are mad, and it's because they're accusing the song of being misogynistic. Most notably, they're zeroing in on lyrics such as, I sold my soul to the devil, but you sold yours to your label, and also, unlike you, I have principles, which many Blackpink fans have taken to assume that TwoSet is accusing Blackpink of sleeping their way to the top. In order to get that argument out of the way, let's take a step back and observe the title of the song. The song that TwoSet put out is called Sellout. Now let's sit down for a vocabulary lesson. Let's study for your SATs. Sellout. What does that word mean? A sellout is somebody who compromises their personal identity, their creative license, and ultimately their personal principles in order to see success, to make money, to get themselves further in life. That is the conventional definition of a sellout. Even TwoSet's lyrics explicitly states that they sold their souls to their label and not their bodies, like the fans are implying that TwoSet meant. And if we think about those lyrics for just 1 second more than those fans ever did, if we're trying to think of people who have sacrificed their artistic liberties and their creative endeavors to see great levels of success, Blackpink probably fits the bill really well. This is a girl group notorious for taking a 2-year-long unexplained hiatus from making music, which in K-pop terms is about 3 million years. These are girls who have had to hide their notebooks because their label confiscates lyrics that they wrote. A lot of Blackpink fans have also gotten mad at TwoSet's Instagram model lyric, but if there's any group out there who have seemingly forgotten that they're singers and are merely treated as models for high-end companies by their label, and not like the idols that they are, it would be Blackpink. It's absolutely not the Blackpink girls' fault that their label is treating them like trash, but I don't think TwoSet's lyrics are gross mischaracterizations of what is going on with their careers.
Were they wrong?
Also, remember to take a step back and realize that these guys are LARPing as classical musicians who died over 200 years ago, back in a time when no record labels existed and that every single musician out there had to grind their way up from the mud in order to see any sort of success and recognition. Even today, in this modern age, there are artists out there who don't mess with labels who don't respect their artistic freedom or their creative license. And the concept of sacrificing elements of yourself would be especially egregious to musicians back in the day who had to rely on themselves for all the success that they saw. So it's by no means far-fetched or outrageous to criticize people who choose to take that path to success. Those insults in the song lyrics are further dampened if you start to look into who Paganini was as a musician. If y'all don't know, Niccolo Paganini is considered to be one of the most talented violinists who has ever lived on this planet. And back during the 1800s when he was big and famous, people looked down upon him because they thought he was flexing too much and that cultured music isn't comprised of showing off to everybody. With that context, you start to realize that what he's saying in this song aren't so much insults as much as they're "I'm rubber, you're glue" remarks, especially since the entire premise of the song is that Paganini took Blackpink's latest single as a personal attack.
Yeah, like they're taking over your area, like you're gonna be out of business, like they're better than you, kind of thing.
What? They say they're better than me? The violin virtuoso, greatest violin virtuoso, Paganini? I do not know who these girls are, but I need to teach them a lesson they will never forget.
To sum up my point here, calling modern pop artists sellouts is a very common criticism, regardless of the gender or what kind of music these artists are making. I'm really struggling to see what part of any of these lyrics can be considered misogynistic. I think what these fans really want to say is that nobody is allowed to criticize or say anything mildly negative about their faves because they're women who have struggled. These fans really want to have their cake and eat it too. So on one hand, they're trotting out the argument that Blackpink are international superstars and these nobodies dissing them just want a little bit of their clout to get themselves forward. And they're not happy. And on the other hand, they also want to argue that Blackpink are these poor little girls who need to be protected from the internet meanies saying bad things about them. We can further have a discussion about how white knighting for these girls is infantilizing them, and that is in itself misogynistic, but that would open a can of worms I don't have the time or energy to discuss right now. At their root, TwoSetViolin are a comedy group, and generally, comedy doesn't have many rules, but if there is one rule to set in comedy, is that people shouldn't be punching down. They shouldn't be making fun of people who are marginalized in society, people who have gone through bad things that they themselves haven't gone through, etc., etc. And if we take a step back and look at what's happening right now, this is the furthest from punching down you can possibly get. These fans are right in the respect that these girls are international superstars. They're out here breaking records, selling out world tours. They won't care about a silly video two guys make on the internet. They will live. They will survive. They probably don't know or care that this video exists. It's gonna be okay. People like to criticize video essays or discussions on YouTube, saying that these people don't add anything new to the conversation and that they're only regurgitating articles and comments that everyone has seen before. So in order for my video to not be that, I've sat down and watched both videos in the series, both the prequel and the music video itself, and formed my own opinions of the works in order to give my own take on it. So the prequel to this entire video, which is Paganini reacting to BLACKPINK's shutdown, that video, I gotta admit, as someone who hasn't watched TwoSetViolin in over a year, it had me giggling through the whole thing. The absolute absurdity of Eddie's awful Italian accent,
Very good, very good.
coupled with the highly educational parts of Paganini's La Campanella and how it was intended to be performed and composed, really reminded me as to why I fell in love with TwoSetViolin all those years ago. That video is a great example of what they bring to the table, what they bring to the platform, and how they're making classical music accessible and funny, and why their presence is greatly appreciated. When I watched the music video, I didn't really feel any type of way about it. Admittedly, if people only saw this video without watching the prequel, a bit of context is missing. I think the video could have benefited from a flashback to the previous video so people know that it's a continuation of something else, but it's not like that would have prevented this blow up from happening entirely. The fans are gonna be mad no matter what. Asking if K-pop fans take things out of proportion is like asking if a bear poops in the woods. If I had to reach really hard for something I didn't like about the video, it's just that a lot of the jokes they tell in the video are things I've seen from them before. They really speed ran the greatest hits of all classical music jokes about pop music, that
pop music is small brain.
They play the same four chords and everything sounds the same. All the music and musicians come out of a factory. Lizzo twerking with the flute is an abomination towards classical music and should be banished from the planet.
I think those are jokes that even classical musicians themselves realize don't hold much water. And I've seen fair criticisms on social media on how people who don't know TwoSetViolin watching this video for the first time, who actually have a head on their shoulders, could understand that to be classical music elitism, even if this song is not told from the perspective of TwoSetViolin themselves. But I'd like to clarify that saying, oh, these jokes are kind of stale, are a far cry from saying that they created offensive content that should be banned from the platform. In the past, when I was more active on my channel, I might have gotten a reputation for being a party pooper in the fandom.
Oh, Two-Set are just making jokes. It's a joke. Learn to take it.
Damn kids are so soft these days. Who raised you?
The most I've ever said about them is that some of the things they say aren't as funny as they could be, and that they could change up their material in order to make it more fresh. But in all of my years of supporting them, creating content about them, I have never seen them say anything that could warrant cancellation or banishment from the platform. If you scroll through Twitter, you'd think that TwoSetViolin are being tried at The Hague for their crimes against humanity. Now, before I conclude this video, I'd like to do a quick speed round of stupid arguments that some fans have tried to lobby against this video.
Why are classical musicians offended that they sampled Paganini? That's what hip-hop does all the time, sample music.
You know what else hip-hop does all the time? Complain about bad samples. I don't think you need to be the next Mozart or even know anything about music to realize that it's weird to repeat a phrase that you cut off in them. This diss track also does a great job of showing how La Campanella can be sampled to do the piece more justice and also make the song sound good. Being talented as well as being educational at the same time is a reason why TwoSetViolin are so great at what they do.
The dialogue at the end is a weak attempt at playing off all the insults they said as a joke.
Oh, so you mean the punchline of the sketch? People out here trying to say,
Oh, the lines are all premeditated. Two-Set did this to be malicious against BLACKPINK.
so every time you watch a music video, you really think all of these musicians are walking up to the camera and freestyling off the dome? Do you think stand-up comedians just walk on stage and wing their entire set? I'm convinced you're an alien who doesn't know how humans work, and you've been set to sow discord throughout Twitter to weaken us and make us more vulnerable to attack. Jesus Christ.
The four dogs in the thumbnail represent BLACKPINK, and it is a demeaning, misogynistic attack.
I watched the music video with my own eyeballs. I thought it was nothing more than them parroting an exact scene from a BLACKPINK music video. I've seen Two-Set fans explain the scene as a part of the extended TwoSetViolin universe, that the four dogs represent the four other musicians in the fictional boy band that Mozart, who is in this video, is also in. But I didn't really think the lyrics made reference to the dogs at all, so I saw it as nothing more than imitating Blackpink's music video. If you see 4 beings and automatically think they're Blackpink, that's kind of a self-report. Hey everybody, Editing Michelle here. I realized when I was recording my video I forgot to address a stupid point that Blackpink fans were making, and it's that they're accusing TwoSetViolin of plagiarizing Blackpink's album art. To that, I gotta say, it's not exactly a secret that they're parodying a Blackpink song. That's kind of the point. It's not like they're SoundCloud rappers trying to trick people into clicking on their mixtape. Not to mention they flipped the album art and colored it red to signify devil horns because Paganini has been accused of selling his soul to the devil. Not to mention the track name is literally under Niccolo Paganini. If you're trying to accuse them of farming this song for clout, they'd probably put the song under their own name and not some guy who died 200 years ago. Anyways, moving on, Jesus. To conclude, when I make these videos discussing disputes that take place on the internet, I try my best to remain neutral, free of bias, to see the merits of both sides of the argument, but this is a situation in which this is simply impossible. There's absolutely hardly any discussion to be had here, and I know me, a schmuck with a camera and an opinion, can't possibly convince those people who are too far gone for logic. But what I hope this video does is reach those people who don't know anything about TwoSetViolin and only see the clickbait and the outrage articles saying that they've wronged Blackpink and that they are genuinely out here issuing misogynistic and antagonistic attacks against them. All of these articles writing stuff about TwoSetViolin and Blackpink, acting like there are 2 valid sides, they're absolutely ridiculous and know exactly what they're doing. I realize in the past I've criticized TwoSetViolin for not communicating certain issues enough with their fans, for not being transparent enough with them, but in this situation, I support their decision to not address the issue at all. They have nothing to apologize for, they have nothing to address. They're doing what they've always done and doing what they've always done best. Good on them for standing their ground and not listening to all of the garbage, the drivel, the noise, the absolute dirty bar urinal of society that is Twitter. And if there's a silver lining to this giant tweet storm, I'd say, I can't wait to see how big TwoSet grow after this incident. If we thought the Bumblebee videos did wonders for their engagement and their rise in popularity, think about what this news episode, their brush with a large internet fandom, and the fact that the majority of the rational internet is on their side. Think about what that would do for their popularity. Forget about 4 million subscribers, they're on their road to 10 million by the end of the year at this point. At the end of the day, this has been an interesting journey down memory lane. I'm greatly reminded of the times I was more engaged with the TwoSetViolin community and all the joy and all the fun and all the education and friendships that I've gotten through this experience. I've been just another Lingling wannabe for the past couple of minutes you've been watching me. After this video, I'll go back to being Michelle and living my regular life, generally without YouTube or TwoSetViolin involved in it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, I hope you enjoyed the discussion that comes out of this video, and I hope all of you have happy and wonderful days ahead. Thank you all for your time, and goodbye.